Okay, so hello everybody and welcome back to another, vlog. Should have like a magical border maybe if I ever start doing the editing on these vlogs. For the most part, these vlogs are all unscripted, and I think you already know that by now. I really shouldn't be clarifying anything. But anywho, welcome, all maybe one viewer. My channel is really small, like ridiculously small. It's not even that good looking, I'll be honest. I know that. But what I can do is at least try to put some appeal into it, I guess, up until I can finally do video games. And in that case, it's still going to be low, but especially since I'm starting with an obscure franchise, hopefully when I get to do the Kingdom Hearts stuff, it'll get better. And then, yeah. But today, I'm going to be talking about Smash Brothers stuff. More specifically, and I will make this into a later video maybe, characters that I would honestly like to see. And maybe some explanations of what the moves would be. The reason why I say that I'm going to work on this again is probably because, A, who knows, maybe one of these characters might get in, but probably doubt it. But I want to show visual reasons on why it could work. That's weird. So starting off with a character that I could a character that really everyone who I watch wants to see in the game, Geno. Geno, as far as I can tell, is basically the go-to Nintendo Square Enix rep that everybody wants. And as much as he's popular, he is also probably under a niche group, and he's an extremely popular character for a character who's only had 2 appearances, really. He is referenced in a couple of other stuff, but for the most part, his main appearance was only in Mario RPG and Smash Brothers as a Mii costume. That doesn't mean that the character doesn't have a chance. In fact, a lot of characters who appeared as Mii costumes actually are appearing in the game. Like K. Rool, Chrom. I want to say Dark Samus, but really it was Samus's helmet in the Mii costume, so no, not really. But popular characters have shown up as Mii costumes. And Geno has a lot of moves, being him from an RPG. The little Geno Whirl, which is like this little disc-like thing that he launches. There's a charged beam cannon. There are a multitude of weapons he has, from his essentially rocket fists. He has an actual little plasma gun. He can fire little finger bullets. There are a lot of things he can use. And as you can tell, most of them are projectile based, which would make the character interesting. It would be he would definitely be a unique combination of different things. And I don't know if I'd call him a full-fledged range fighter, because there are a few moves that he has that he doesn't need range on. And he even has something called Geno Boost, which boosts, I believe, attack. I don't remember that 100%. I need to go through Super Mario RPG through its entirety one day. But that's not what we're here for. But yeah, Geno I would actually like to see in Smash. The next character is Rhine. Rein is an interesting choice maybe for some of you who would probably say, nah, it would be better to have Dunban or Ricky or Fiora or Melia or Charlotte. Charlotte. What? Charla, not Charlotte. Anywho, but I would honestly pick Rein. Why? Because he is probably the most unique character out of the entire roster. Why? Because he uses the driver shield, which honestly is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it also brings up an interesting move list. As while Shulk has Minato arts and whatnot, Rein has arts, but his arts are mostly focused around, well, heavy swinging, bashing, and also he has a little like sword at the tip of his shield that can puncture the opponent, but having some recoil, so pushing him back. So he can have amazing offensive pressure, and he's the tank of Xenoblade, which makes him kind of a heavy medium weight character. He has range, and also he can be very dangerous. So he could have like sword drive. I can't remember the name of the spinning move. He could have a like defensive shield, like pits or dark pits. But the things he can do in the Xenoblade games basically build his moveset. The only thing that you would have to think about would probably be a recovery, but you could do something similar to maybe like Clouds or Ike's, where launches them straight up and then slams down. That sounds a very Rein thing to do. Maybe call it Bone Amper just for fun, or Bone Upper, whatever. But Rein would honestly be a very cool character to see with like Shulk, and if Rex and Pyra were ever in the game, those two as well, because he'd be different because he's not a main character, and also because, well, he's kind of a bonehead, but that's what makes him charming. Moving on to the next character, I think a character that I would honestly like, who would probably never appear in Smash Brothers, would be Persona Rep. More specifically, I guess you call him the main bad guy, well, technical main bad guy of 4, and the anti-hero of Arena Ultimax, Toru Adachi. Now, Adachi, why I would want him over Yu Narukami, let's say, is actually because of how he fights. Yu Narukami would kind of be like, he'd be like any other swordsman with, you know, a persona, so he'd have some magic along, which would make him unique, but it's kind of like a Robin thing. But he does have a lot of unique moves, don't get me wrong. But his playstyle would be very much like a Marth Mario thing, where it's a basic moveset. Adachi, on the other hand, would be he'd be a combination between aggressive and cocky play. His weight class would be, of course, middle of the road, maybe a little heavier. But what makes him unique more than Narukami is because of how he's interpreted in not only Arena Ultimax, but even in the Persona series, as a character who can get cocky real fast, but at the same time he can back it up with his sheer power. His persona, Magatsu Izanagi, which is short in, I guess, American terms, is actually means Calamity. Calamity Izanagi, which is kind of like a shadow of Izanagi. But that does not mean he is in any way weaker. Unlike Izanagi, who focuses mostly on electrical, physical, and I guess in a strange sense, light elements. Magatsu is focused on more physical, darkness, and electric. So he's got more of the darkness, while Izanagi has more light. And this really shows, as Adachi is more of a mix-up aggressive play style, where at one point he can be up in your face, and the next second he can be taunting, but if you hit him, he will aggressively attack you because that was a clone or something like that. And the way I'm thinking about his moveset is actually a lot more in-depth. Like, I would actually could make an entire video explaining solely on what Adachi could do. From literally everything to his grabs to a unique mechanic where he can use the persona cards like in Arena Ultimax, and when you destroy the persona, he actually has a different moveset, but it's not as strong as him having Magatsu. But he can still be viable. And that would be kind of an interesting thing, because similar to Rosalina Rosalina without Luma can be kind of a hard thing to handle. Same goes with Adachi. However, Adachi has a few moves that could probably let him stay cautiously in the game, but at the same time, you don't have to fully worry about having Magatsu Izanagi, as he could probably have a combo game to, once he reaches Magatsu, you are probably doomed. So, a thing where it makes him weaker, but at the same time, he can still hold his own, which is kind of what the character is like. And not only that, but his victory taunts and animations would probably be the most, in my opinion, badass. As Arena Ultimax has shown me, all of his victory animations would be kind of cool, and they could even do a couple unique ones, referencing probably other villains from, well, I'm going to say the Arc Sys games, essentially, so like Terumi, or heck, even kind of like Carmine in Strange Senses, or Sho. But nonetheless, Adachi I would probably prefer over Narukami, simply for gameplay style, how the character will make you feel in terms of combat-wise. But like I said, I know the character's impossible to have in the game, unless you have Narukami, and even then, he'd probably be a weird echo fighter. Moving on to the next character, is a character that's possible, but at the same time improbable, and that's Lana. Lana, in my opinion, would be a fun character to play, simply for the unique gimmicks of the magic barriers. You could probably mix and match her tome fighting style with the Deku spear, and even you can mix it in with the gate. But for the most part, I think the tome would be the just pure moveset. It would be fun to like mix and match certain weapons, but focusing on the tome, she has a lot of things from lightning, creating those weird little like glyph-based objects that can be pushed, pulled, stun opponents in place by electrocuting them and keeping them still, and even destroying them with magic blasts. And for the most part, I believe she would have Hyrule Warriors her introduction gave her basically an entire moveset to do. From literally everything. And you can even have fun with the final smash. You can make it like Hyrule Warriors, one of the supers, or you can make it something very unique. Probably involving something between her and Sia, or involving maybe the Triforce of Power. Or like, I guess a good guy version of the Triforce of Power. But honestly, I would love to see Lana And if I don't, most people's popularity pick is Skull Kid. I can see why. He's not really... The thing that's actually the villain is not necessarily Skull Kid, it's the mask, but no, nevertheless, he is the thing that represents it. So, yeah, the impish being Skull Kid, I'd be happy to see him, but Lana would honestly be my Zelda rep that I would be excited for. And since this video is coming extremely close to the other video for being long, and I probably rambled on for a few characters, more specifically I guess Adachi, but the last character I would like to see would most likely be I actually had it in my head and then it poofed. Whoopsie. Wow, this certainly is awkward. Oh, right. Overshadow, like for a representation of Sonic, I would love to see more likely Metal Sonic or Tails. Now, why would I rather want Metal Sonic or Tails? The answer is simple. Because Metal Sonic, I find, is a lot cooler than Shadow, and not only that, but he could be a very unique Echo Fighter. And I mean that in a way of like how Chrom is very different from Roy, with a different up special and certain rules on how damage works and whatnot. And I mean that in a sense of Metal Sonic has a couple things that Sonic does not have, but Metal Sonic could totally use in combat. For example, essentially it would be a shine, but the black shield from, well, Sonic CD, the Sonic anime, and heck, even Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, where he didn't have a special. He had the black shield, and basically the black shield made him practically invulnerable. So supers, while they could screw someone over, like maybe remove rings or something, the black shield completely negated the damage portion. And while the stop time did work on it, he's invulnerable. The opponent can't beat him up while he's in the invulnerable shield, which made it a very unique thing. And for the most part, that would probably be the only change for Metal Sonic. But it would be really cool if you could be a hybrid between Wolf and Sonic. Like, so while he's very quick like Sonic, and some of his moves could be like Sonic with like maybe the homing attack, or even maybe like not really a spin dash, as that would be replaced with a black shield, but have the aggressiveness of Wolf. So while he's fast and agile and can be pretty frustrating in combat, he's also very rough and aggressive. So actually one of my favorite scenes in the Sonic anime OVA thing that was released a long time ago, there's this scene where Metal Sonic is floating upside down, lifts his leg, turns to the side, and essentially bitch slaps Sonic with his leg. But he does it in the most, it's very non-human. It was a very robotic attack, but nonetheless, that's kind of what I would want to see. Something very not fluid, just something more fitting of Metal Sonic, where he's aggressive and he'll do his mission in any way he can. So it would be very quick, but at the same time very rough and chaotic. And that would honestly be why I would pick Metal Sonic over Shadow. Tails would be it would be something very similar to being very unique with being a bit of Sonic, and that's simply just like, you know, homing attack and spin dash, and for the most part, everything else is different, and I really do mean that. Because he's more of a gadget-based character, so he would be kind of using the weapons he built as attacks, rather than just relying completely on speed and punching things. He would be very much a more technical-based character, kind of like Mega Man in a sense, but being faster, obviously. But yeah, those are actually the characters that I would like to see in Smash. Another one that I would probably explain further in detail, and it would be a very different design of what most people think, would be Sora for Kingdom Hearts. But I've had enough of explanations here, so thank you all who watched this video, and I will see you all later. See ya.